All right, y'all, welcome to the show. So, in just a second, we have a whole bunch of stuff for you. So, I'm going to lead with this awesome CNN segment from Harry Enton, basically describing how the Democratic base is fed up. They've had enough, and they're out for blood when it comes to Democratic leadership. So, a lot to say about that. Then we'll get to the meathead Chris Cuomo. His hate boner for AOC is absolutely out of control. We'll dive into that. We also have Joy Reid, former MSNBC host, running circles around the warmonger hacks at CNN. That is, I mean, she may have been hiding her power level because, man, she knows how to throw down when she has to. Then we'll talk about a Canadian citizen has died in ICE Gestapo custody. They are not the only one. There's also many others who've died in ICE Gestapo custody. There's a lot to say about that. I mean, the depravity of this regime is just off the charts. Then I have a ruthless takedown for you guys of MAGA. It's a video on TikTok that went viral that I want to share with you. And we also have a really heartbreaking story and some massive backlash as Trump has, of course, destroyed cancer research in this country, along with the robber baron Elon Musk. So you guys know the drill. Everybody please subscribe to the channel. That helps out big time and costs you nothing at all. I would deeply, deeply appreciate that. Remember, guys, this is real independent media. I've never talked to an advertiser. So all of you guys who fund this show on Patreon, you guys make it work. $2 a month goes a long way. $5 a month goes a really long way. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you do support the show, and go subscribe to Corin's World, the YouTube channel as well. We haven't missed a week yet with Kyle and Corin, but I'm on vacation now, and we don't have Wi-Fi. I'm recording this with the data in my phone, so I don't know if we're going to be able to do one this week, but we had quite a streak there of not missing Kyle and Corin. Hopefully that can continue, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But go subscribe to the Corin's World YouTube channel. Hook a brother up with a subscription. All right, guys, let's get it started. So this says it all about how weak the Democratic establishment is at this moment. Watch this from Harry Enton. This breakdown by the numbers when it comes to Zoran's win is astonishing. Let's watch.
Let me tell you, this was a political earthquake that should have the Democratic establishment running scared. What are we talking about here? Well, New York City primary upsets like Mondani's. This is truly one for the record books. There are really only two that I could think of that are anything like this. And that's back in '89 for mayor when David Dinkins won over three-term mayor Ed Koch. Koch was running for a fourth term. The voters said, there was big turnout then, just like there was big turnout last night. And of course, more recently, if you want to take a look at a national picture, think back to 2018, New York's 14th Democratic primary going for Congress when AOC beat House Dem Caucus Chair Joe Crowley. This, to me, is very much like that. Energizing young voters, energizing voters on the left, and providing what truly was a historic night last night in Democratic circles.
And, you know, look, on paper, this is a mayor's race. This is also New York City, special city. But is this more a New York City thing, or is this more of a sign of a larger national trend when it comes to the Democratic Party?
Yeah, just like AOC's victory in 2018, this did happen locally, but I think you can take it up nationally. What are we talking about here? Well, you know, you think about Democratic establishment, you think about Democratic Party leaders, pretty much all of them were behind Andrew Cuomo, but the bottom line is the Democratic base is fed up, done with the Democratic establishment. This is true in New York, it's true nationally. Democrats who say their party leaders should be replaced. Look at
only 24% of Democratic voters support the current party leadership. 24%. That's unheard of. To put that in perspective for you, in 2017, during Trump's first term, that number was like 60 or 70% that supported current Democratic leadership. We've never seen anything like this before.
This is a recent poll from Reuters Ipsos. 62% of Democrats nationally say their party leaders should be replaced. Party leaders like Andrew Cuomo, party leaders like Jim Clyburn, who, of course, endorsed Andrew Cuomo. You think about all the Democrats that were behind Andrew Cuomo in the establishment. The Democratic base is fed up with them. And the bottom line is nationally, the vast majority of Democrats think that their party leaders should be replaced. But it's more than this, right? Of course, Mondani ran a pretty far left campaign, right, compared to what we normally see in Democratic circles. But the bottom line is, you talked to me 20, 30 years ago, there was no way I thought a Democratic socialist could win a nomination for mayor in New York or nationally. But look, Democrats who identify as liberal nationally in 1994 is 25%. You go to 2004, 33%, 2014, 43%. Now the majority of Democrats nationally identify as liberal.
So let me just explain this a little bit for people because the terms are a little confusing. When mainstream media says, oh, this person is very liberal, what they're trying to say is that person is a leftist. They don't have the same sort of definitions that we use in, more in new media and more with, political junkies who eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff 24/7. When they say, oh, this candidate is very liberal, that's them saying the person's a democratic socialist or the person's a leftist, right? And so that's how a lot of people interpret it with the polling, too, is that in 1994, only 25% of Democrats calling themselves liberal. That is the third wayification of Democratic politics. That's the Bill Clintonification of Democratic politics. We're going to split the difference. We're going to be above the fray Democrats. We're going to triangulate. We're going to be new Democrats, which means we're half Republican. So back then, that's where even the base was. Now, the base is moving further and further and further and further left because he just said, I can't believe a Democratic Socialist won. Well, yeah, but think about what led to that. What led to that was the Republicans going full fascist, and then to counter that, Democratic voters are going further and further to the left because they see how insane Trump's fascism is. So that's a big deal. The Democratic base has been radicalized in the best sense of the word, where they say, don't compromise, don't negotiate, don't do bipartisanship. You just have to defeat these people and fight for a totally different political program. Talk about class war. Talk about working class solidarity. Talk about the 1% versus the 99%. Talk about billionaires being the problem, the corruption being the problem, right? This is the default perspective of the Democratic base when that didn't used to be the case.
You go to 2004, 33%, 2014, 43%. Now the majority of Democrats nationally identify as liberal. If there are Democratic establishment folks who think this is just going to be contained in New York, I say this is a warning sign to you. It very much may not be.
Ooh, so they're saying, you think this is a one-off with Mamdani winning? And look, to be fair, in some ways, in Trump's first term, when he had like the midterms in 2018, it was a bit of a one-off. Like, I was a co-founder of Justice Democrats with a bunch of others, and we wanted to do what was effectively a left-wing Tea Party of the Democratic establishment. But clearly the party wasn't ready for it yet. The voters were not ready for it yet. And what we're seeing is now they are. So you had AOC beat Joe Crowley, which was a political earthquake. But, it was our wins were more limited than one might think, right? Like maybe 7, 8, 9 different Justice Democrats end up getting in there. But now what Harry Enten is saying is, this Zoran thing, this might happen all across the country. Left-wing challengers to establishment Democrats might end up toppling these people all around the country.
See a lot of eyeballs on this race, including what happens next, because now he's just got to match up with an independent incumbent in Mayor Eric Adams. So
I'm very much looking forward to this matchup. It could be another one for the books.
More numbers for you to dig into.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's not done. He also does one more here. Ready? Watch.
What should they take away is that the party leaders, Democrats who say they want to replace their party leaders, look at this, 62% nationally say yes compared to just 24% who say no. That lines up with the idea that Democrats view their own members of Congress, their own leaders in Congress, record low approval rating. Democrats right now are out for blood. They want to take out their party leaders. And you saw that with Andrew Cuomo going, adios, amigos, goodbye. See you later in New York this past Tuesday.
I love that quote. He says, Democrats are out for blood. The Democratic base is going, we're done. Clearly you can hear that thunder. Well, I guess I'm doing the show. I definitely couldn't be golfing today, that's for sure. So we're doing the show. But Democrats are out for blood, meaning the leaders are not safe. The establishment is not safe. If you're not hammering home the notes that Democrats want to hear, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. So, for example, we talked about this yesterday, but only 21% of Democratic voters now have a positive view of Israel. 21%. That's a historic low. That means the base is simply pro-Palestine. The base is seeing the genocide and they're going, that's bad, that's wrong, we need to stop that, and our elected leaders need to talk about that, right? They're done with bipartisanship and negotiation and compromise and holding hands and singing Kumbaya. They want crusaders and fighters who are going to take no bullshit and basically mirror Trumpism, but on the other side where we're the crusaders now. We're the powerful ones now. We're the ones who don't back down. We're the ones who are a bull in a china shop. And I think that's like, we finally have our moment. We finally have, the left-wing base is finally having its moment where I don't think, think about it like this. When we have the next Democratic primary in 2028, they're not going to be able to hold back the wave of left-wing energy. They were able to do it with their trickery and deceit when it came to 2016. They were able to do it by, at the last minute, dropping out and rallying around Biden in 2020 to defeat Bernie because it looked like Bernie was going to win. They don't have the pull anymore. They don't have the sway anymore. They don't have the trust anymore of the Democratic base. So, explicitly, if corporate media or establishment Democrats say, we want this candidate, we want Alyssa Slotkin, that will be a strike against that candidate and make them less likely to win. So be ready, y'all. Be ready. The moment's here, and it's only getting stronger. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.